Hello everyone and welcome in another weekly devlog video. So this is weekly devlog number 3, so it's been almost a month of this madness. If you follow along, then you know that in the last video I was discussing the game idea, which was not clear at the time. I'm glad to say that now it's a little bit more clear. But the whole thing took a 180-degree turn, so let me show you. Here we are in Unreal Editor. And we moved from 5.6 to 5.7 this week. So that was one task. And what you are looking at is kind of concept of a map that I want to have. And you also can see that the art direction has changed quite a bit from the last video, where I was messing with, from the start pretty much, I was messing with these stylized assets and getting the pipeline, like how to work with assets and how to get them into Unreal and how to make them work, which is invaluable experience, I would say, still, because that will be very needed in the future. And I was messing with materials. And I have a new master material. This is master material for landscapes. And it looks like not much, but there are functions which, yeah, they go deep and they go wide. So, yeah, this is what I was working on, mostly. And of course, you see that we have a lot of assets in this world. And you also can see what the approach to the style in this game will be like, because most of these assets, I believe all of them pretty much, are from Quixel Megascans, and they are free. Most of these are free, and I really like let's get a moment to appreciate Epic Games and how they approach the pricing. They really have a good business going on, because for small developers like myself, and I believe many other indie devs out there, it's very cool to be able to use stuff freely. Or if I go to Fab Marketplace, you will see most of the time that the things there are much cheaper for solo devs, 10 times cheaper usually. If you don't have like a bigger studio, you don't have to pay 10 euros for one of these ground assets textures, you just pay 1 euro. Like that's a huge thing. So yeah, I wanted to take a moment and say that I'm very glad for it. If you were watching my first videos, then you may be thinking, oh well, did he go mad or what? Because I've been talking about how I want to make assets on my own. But when I was considering the game that I want to make, and I just think about a tree like this. Look at it. The color, don't mind the color of the leaves. I was playing with it, but it won't be like this in the future. That is subject to change. But just think about these trees, right? You see how complicated they are. It's nothing like the stylized tree that I made in 2 days, you know. Making a tree like this, without the technology that these guys have, because I am pretty sure that they scan these things, like, they're not modeling them. Modeling this would take months, weeks, months. And as a solo dev, I don't have time for that. Like, we don't have time to go and model something like this. A neat feature. You see what's happening there? How it blends to the ground. Yes, I managed to make the runtime virtual textures to work within my landscape material and also my opaque material. So a lot of the week I spent by gathering assets for the project, mainly free ones which I could get my hands on, and I'm also thinking about spending some money to like get more assets in, like for example the rocks. I just have these 3 kinds right now. I would like more, and they cost like 3 euros per rock, so I'm thinking like I'll buy 2 or 3 more to just have more variation. And this level is just getting ready to be built with those natural assets, and then once built, then we will go over with some of these little things. Also, all of these are free, which is like getting assets ready at the moment. And the next step here on this project will be to get the landscape, to play with the landscape tool over here, the sculpting mainly, to get the terrain that we want. I'm not going to use external applications for that, simply because I believe that our map will not be too complex. Like, I don't need to get something crazy going on. It will just be hills and, you know, very slight slopes, nothing crazy, no mountains. This is not a 2x2 kilometer map. This is just very simple map. This, what you see, this rectangle here, this will be the playable area, and right now it is so 100 by 160 meters. That's not big. That's a fairly small map, and as I said, the playable area will be very small. These blocks that we have on this level, what are they? They are the layouts of the buildings that will be here. I'm still not very sure about the buildings or the points of interest here, but I think I should tell you a little bit about what kind of a game this will be, right? Because it doesn't make sense to talk about it when you don't know. So it will be a third-person kind of atmospheric, immersive, realistic experience. The camera, how I set it up right now, this is something that I imagine, the Resident Evil style or Silent Hill style, the new ones, the remakes. We are aiming to have like, I don't know, 10 hours, up to 10 hours of experience. So this will be like a very short game. There will be more maps, which you will see later. So what happened with the idea for the game? Right after I made the last video, I went to visit one of my real-life friends, which I have known for many years. And I know he is also kind of into the game dev idea. He would like to maybe start something. So we discussed the ideas together, and we spent like 5 or 6 hours discussing this idea of a like we had more ideas. Obviously we had more ideas, more games that we could pull off in the scope of things that we see as reasonable. But in the end, we had one idea which kind of fascinated both of us, and this was a third-person, atmospheric, immersive shooter kind of game. Not really shooter, I wouldn't say shooter. There will be shooting mechanics, you will have a gun, but there won't be much of the shooting. The shooting will happen, but it's not a fighting game, you know? The experience will be more of a visual, you kind of going through a short story. The overall story is we have police officers who are undercover, they are chasing a guy. They will get into this place somehow because the guy is running from them in a car. And this place is like an abandoned facility, and the guy will run off. They don't know where he is, so your first thing to do will be to kind of explore this place, go around and find this guy. Later this will turn into like horror, paranormal kind of stuff. And it will be based in a location that is kind of realistic, because there is place in our country which is weird and people are going missing there, and there is some paranormal stuff going on. So yeah, and I'm from Slovakia, by the way. It is kind of based in reality. The year we will be going for is like 2004, 2005. Now let's discuss a few issues that I had. In Unreal 5.6 I had issues where I couldn't make this landscape plane bigger. Landscape, manage, and let's say I want to add more tiles to it, right? I couldn't do it in 5.6 because in 5.6 there was a bug where if I try to build nanite data, which I want because we do have displacement enabled textures here. When you tried to generate this nanite data for landscape that was more than the default size, it was bugging out. It didn't generate data for those tiles randomly, and you would end up with invisible tiles with no terrain on it, basically. So that was an issue, right? This issue is gone, but we have a new issue where if I try to paint over the landscape, go to landscape mode, paint, and this material, let's say I want to paint over this, you know, and yeah, see, it looks like something's going on, like something's not good, something's not all right with this texture, and it should look like this. That's the problem. This texture that I just painted should look like this. Never mind the bugging shadows right now. It's okay, that's expected, but you see how when I paint over, the wet blending doesn't work in 5.7. I don't know what to do about it. So this is something that I have to figure out how to work around it, because it doesn't work how it should, unfortunately. What's the goal for the next week? I will be working on the landscape, if the Unreal Engine will allow me to do that, because right now it's crazy. Yeah, I spent many hours trying to figure out what the hell is wrong with this, and that's the crazy part. Like, most of the time, like, I want to work on my project, I don't want to troubleshoot everything. So till the next week I want to have some basic landscape going on. I will be playing with the sculpting tool, and I will be trying to paint my landscape if the engine will allow me to do that, because right now it doesn't seem to work very well. I hope they will fix it, but I don't know how long that will take them. So thank you for watching, and see you in the next video. Bye bye.